There is a difference between a Diksha Guru and a Shiksha Guru. So, what I am to you at the most is a mentor or a Shiksha Guru, but I am not your Diksha Guru. So, don't make that differentiation and do make that differentiation. Okay, Diksha Guru is a very, very high concept. If a Diksha is given very properly, the Diksha Guru is taking 1/4 of your sins immediately. So, what does it mean? That Diksha or the right Diksha technically can bring in your lot of your luck, and hence it is in the houses of Jupiter, which is the ninth and the 12th house. Hello and namaste, and thank you so much for visiting my channel. My name is Karthik Gaur, and please do subscribe and click the bell icon to ensure that whenever we upload a webinar or a video, you are the first ones to know. Thank you so much. So, welcome everybody, and the topic that we are going to discuss today is the power of speech, and most importantly, mentor, and also a concept which is much higher than that, the concept of Guru Paduka. Okay, and we all have been hearing the concept of mentorship, or so and so is my mentor, or somebody wants to become a mentor, or a life coach, or a speaker, and all those concepts all put together. Now, within the paradigm or within that bracket of being a speaker, there are various types of speaker, right? There could be somebody who can be financial speaker, somebody who is a sort of a business coach, somebody is a life coach, somebody is a coach in terms of an acting coach, So that whole industry or that whole block of coaching, mentorship is a huge one. And it is all ultimately related to the power of speech. And we are going to understand a little more. We initially, in the previous video, we understood the importance of Mercury, and more importantly, the importance of second from Mercury. And we did a very, very small example in terms of understanding PM Narendra Modi as well as Hitler, because they are commonly compared with each other, right? But we saw that in reality, the chart said that they are completely opposite each other, because in one place the Atmakaraka is conjoining, so the person is actually having the fruits of being in power, whereas in the other case, in Modi's case, it's the reverse, where it is actually going to the 12th from it. So all he is talking about is actually letting it go. All he's talking about is, letting go of those subsidies, letting go of the extra perks that rich people were having in terms of railway reservations, etc. And they are all connected to the planet Shani. Shani is all about the income tax. So when we understand Karakas in detail, we have to actually drill down each planet and understand what are the Karakas of each planet in terms of profession, in terms of houses, even in terms of the activities and so on and so forth. Okay, so let us start today's topic. And as usual, being a project manager, I like to lay the foundation, so to say, or let us set the expectations right? So what we are going to do is understanding the speech, part 2 sort of a thing, because initially we did discuss about the importance. Okay, then we are going to talk about the Guru Paduka and mentorship. There is a difference between a Diksha Guru and a Shiksha Guru, right? So what I am to you at the most is a mentor or a Shiksha Guru, but I'm not your Diksha Guru. So don't make that differentiation, and do make that differentiation, and understand that there is a huge difference between a Diksha Guru, somebody who's going to give you a mantra, or somebody who's going to give you a Diksha, and somebody who's going to give you the Shiksha. Shiksha is more the education part of it, the theory part of it. I might teach you the concept of mantra, but I might talk about mantras here and there, or I might give you mantras as part of my consultation, but that doesn't make me your Diksha Guru. Okay, Diksha Guru is a very, very high concept, and frankly speaking, I'm not there as yet. And do I want to become? The answer is no. Why? Because a Diksha Guru, in a genuine sense, if a Diksha is given very properly, the Diksha Guru is taking 1/4 of your sins immediately. So what does it mean? That Diksha or the right Diksha technically can bring in a lot of your luck. And hence it is in the houses of Jupiter, which is the 9th and the 12th house. You understand? In olden days, this Gayatri Diksha or the Mantra Diksha was a very, very common process. And when you do a Mantra Diksha, especially where the Guru gives you a specific mantra, that is called as the real Diksha. Okay, so we'll be talking about those concepts. We are going to talk about the example charts, and it's going to be a fun full time. So stay on and keep hooked on to the session. Now, let us understand a little bit in terms of the secrets of speech. On the right hand side, you see, somebody who is a speaker, right? And believe me, most of the good speakers also can be nervous starters. There are very few who sort of are right up there. And frankly speaking, it comes with a lot of training as well. So getting the right sort of a mentor, practicing over and over again does make you a little bit of perfection, but something is there which has to be inbuilt. And inbuilt are those planets or those houses which actually support the power of speech. In our last video, we talked about the importance of our Vishuddhi Chakra and Anahata Chakra. So though Mercury is going to push from the Anahata Chakra, ultimately the voice, the vocal cord, the external experience of somebody whom you are speaking to is associated with a lot of your Vishuddhi Chakra or the second house. So if I have a Mercury in the second house, can I sometimes be funny or crack a joke? Or be a little sarcastic and yet funny, So Mercury gives you that ability to think, in a very, very young way or in very today's time. So the example I give is also very today's time. I can appeal to a younger audience. Why? Because they feel that, hey, this guy talks a language that we can understand. He is very palatable. If it is Saturn, then to that level, the language is a different language. In marketing or, when you do sort of a Facebook campaign or something like that, there is something called as your customer avatar. That, hey, based on your experience, based on what you feel you have been doing or your product line or service, can you define your customer? That my customer does this, my customer is so and so age, he has this kids, or he has got he generally is a follower of, let's say, Art of Living or Sri Ravi Shankara or Sadhguru or whatever it is. Likewise, what we are going to do is we are going to profile in terms of what are the good and the bad that you have in your speech. So who are our key stakeholders? The key stakeholder always starts from the Karaka Bhava. And Karaka Bhava for speech is always the second house. Okay, so we need to understand that the second house and always understand that vocal cord, that Vishuddhi Chakra. Even when we are going to study the body parts, which we'll be doing later on, you'll understand that the second house is associated with your throat chakra. Hence, diseases like thyroid, etc., are also seen from the second house or second from the moon. Okay, so now I'm sort of conditioning you that whenever you are talking about a house in a good sense, also understand the medical problems which might be coming. So let's say throat cancer, things like that, or things where you people have a problem because of eating too much of gutka or those sort of non hygienic stuff, so to say, right? So I want you to sort of start thinking in those ways whenever I'm talking about one particular section of the subject. You should be able to derive a lot more than that, and that is very important. That is a positive Rahu. You are thinking ahead. You are able to sort of think ahead of what I'm going to teach. or preempt ahead of what I'm going to teach. Maybe sometimes you will go wrong, that's okay, but I would not discourage you to do that. Why? Because you are then stretching yourself, you are stretching your imagination. You are not sort of being a completely, being followed or being driven by only what I say. Okay, but you will always keep that little space that if you are wrong, you'll be accepting that, hey, I was wrong, and you're ready to learn the new way. Okay, so now coming back to the topic, the second house is the Karaka Bhava. And the second lord becomes very, very important because he is the owner of the second house. The planet in the second house still is like a tenant, and it's that like an owner and a tenant relationship. Okay, and those are the things which are very, very important. Planets in the second house are nothing but the tenants, as I said. Now, depending on whether, let's say, my Mercury in the second house is in the sign Taurus. Now, depending on whether Mercury and Moon or Mercury and Venus, get along well, based on that, it depends, whether I'm having a powerful speech or I'm having a sluggish speech, or do I motivate anybody, or do people even like listening to me, or people find me very interesting, or people find my voice either soothing or very practical. Now, all those factors will depend on various other factors. The Lord of the house is telling that, hey, that Lord has also gone ahead and probably met some other planets. So the more the planets which are impacting the second house or the second Lord, to that level, you have a multiple faceted sort of a speech, or multiple faceted the way you deal with people. Okay, so my, let's say, second Lord Venus is in the Lagna. Okay, and it is going 12th from the second house, and it is with that bunch of planets over there, with Jupiter, with Surya, and with Venus and Ketu. So to that level, the second Lord has the ability to be with Jupiter, which is in Digbala. So can we say that, I like to, be generally very truthful? Then it is with exalted Surya. So to that level, can we say that, I might have a speech or a command on speech, or I can be very straightforward. Yeah. Then there is Venus. I can also show compassion because it is the natural second Lord. And both the Rajas planets are involved. So I can be very, very good in terms of discussions, in terms of debates, in terms of healing down people or giving them a way out. And then the last but not the least is Ketu. Now Ketu has got a dual role as well. Why? Because Ketu at one level can actually give you an ability to really motivate people to the spiritual way. In a negative side, sometimes it could be too straight and too blunt, where people might feel that, hey, he was too blunt. I wish he had told this differently. But I need to accept that that is all part of my speech. Okay, so if I take second from my second Lord, I have got Mercury. If I take second from Mercury, I have got two planets over there. One is my Atmakaraka Mars, and second is Chandra. So this much should be important or enough for you, that just to understand what I'm saying. So second from Mercury, I have got my Atmakaraka, which is Vargottama as well, as well as I've got Chandra over there. And that particular yoga of Moon and Mars is said to be as Rudra Yoga, which is associated actually with Lord Shiva. So can we say that if I pray to Lord Shiva, or if I do Shiva mantras, then to that level, my speech starts becoming more powerful. It starts becoming more valuable. People sort of start paying attention a little more, compared to maybe 10 years down the line when I was not doing my mantras. So from there comes the question that, hey, can mantras change the power of speech? The answer is absolutely yes, because speech is a mantra. For example, I say I love you is a 3-akshara mantra which is in the third house, and everybody knows what is in the third house, right? The good and the bad. At the same time, it is I will kill you or I hate you is also a 3-akshara. It is again in the third house. So there is a Mangal in I hate you, which is being activated as a Karaka, whereas in I love you, there is this Mithuna Rashi, which is all about sexuality and compassion and being together. So what I mean to say, your speech or whatever you say is your mantra. And based on that mantra, you are creating karma. Now that karma can be good or bad. It might be, positive Kriyaman karma, or is it a negative Kriyaman karma? All those factors are there. But the fact of the matter is that you still are creating a karma via the mantra that you speak. And that is your speech. Hence, there is this common sort of a remedy that, whenever you are angry, then sleep over it. Probably reply to an email or reply to a particular WhatsApp if you feel it's very tough the next day, because by that time you must have calmed down, and probably you will give a much more logical answer rather than in that fit of anger. You will activate that Mangal, Karaka of third house, rather than activating that Mercury, which is Mithuna Rashi, all about trading, all about being good. That Mitra Aditya, third house, you remember? So third house is also a lot to do with your friendship. And it is also your Parakrama, because it is your right hand. 11th house is your left hand, Likewise, you have to understand. So all that writing stuff, etc., is associated with the third house. And your written communication is also like a communication. So what I'm hinting to you, that third house also becomes very important for your written communication. Okay, so very important. Now we are going step ahead. Now we are trying to understand planets with Mercury. Why? Because Mercury is primarily the Karaka of speech, right? So the planets with Mercury are going to have a huge impact in terms of the duality of a person. Some people, or many of us for that matter, have sort of a dual speech. I talked and I gave you the example of my own speech, right? That there are so many impacts that I can actually be a completely different person at different point of time. But most of it is sounding good, except if a person is not a straight talker, then they might not like, why am I talking so straight? Or a person is an atheist, then he might not like the way I talk about Vedanga Jyotish or the spirituality or the whole concept of creation, etc. That's a different sort of an objection. But on a whole, what I mean to say, planets with Mercury also have a great impact. I gave you the example of planet with my second lord Venus, and how there were those bunch of planets in my Lagna. Now, malefic planets with Mercury are something, which can create a little problem. Okay, why? Because then they make Mercury Krura and low caste. You see, you sometimes, when you meet somebody and he's in such a good suit, good shoes, good tie, good perfume, and the moment they open their mouth, they are so filthy, and you feel, my goodness, it was better if he had kept his mouth shut. And it happens with men and women both, where they feel it's too fashionable. It is nice to swear in every 5 seconds, and it's not a good habit. It technically shows your status or the type of work that you do, or frankly speaking, why should we even blame that on the work, because it is not that, if you are in a film industry set, everybody needs to swear at each other. It's a very individual thing. I know of a lot of Bollywood stars, a lot of Bollywood producers and all, and they are fantastic. They are such good speakers. So it is all about that Mercury and malefics with Mercury. Now, what do we consider as a malefic? Let us understand. When Mars is with Mercury, then to that level, you are speaking like a general, right? I need to live to die another day. What is that speech? That is a speech of a general. They talk that, or if you see this, I again keep saying about Troy, where there is this Achilles, that Brad Pitt, as soon as they are reaching the shores of where they are supposed to fight the battle, before 30 seconds, 1 minute, he starts motivating his Myrmidons. My brothers of sword, you are the best one. I would rather die with you rather than live with anybody else. And then, it's building up, where they are that thumping their swords and all on that ship. And then you as a viewer also feel that, wow, I also want to be with them. I also want to fight, those people. And then there is this Hector, who is the king of the other side. He is also seeing that, hey, these guys are coming and their ships are coming, and he speaks to his army and says, that, we would, Troy is your motherland, and, we will fight every inch for the motherland. And all my life I have heard this 3 lives, love your motherland, fight for your country, and love your wife, and he also motivates equally well. And there you see, he's charging up his army. So what I mean to say is, depending on the profession in which you are, depending on the role in which you are, you need to develop that speech. You can't have a general talking like a Dalai Lama. Or you can't have a Dalai Lama, who is going to, talk, like Arnab Goswami for that matter, right? Imagine Dalai Lama saying that the nation wants to know why Brahma was born today, and you'll feel, my goodness, what is he saying? See, I'm giving you a very logical understanding of the speech, and more importantly, what is the karaka of your speech? Because everybody might not have the same planet. If your profession needs a little bit of energy, little bit of Agni, and if you are speaking very, very low, then frankly speaking, your clients are not even listening to you. Imagine if you are a sort of a motivational speaker and you are doing a video and you are saying, hello everybody, today is Friday and I want you all to be motivated because the sun is rising. Sun is so good and we all have to have good days and bad days, but I'm sure you today will be a good day. So have a good day and thank you so much for watching my video. Are you going to listen to that video? You'll feel, my goodness, this guy really needs some vitamin A, vitamin C, kuch injection do yaar isko, so he can at least speak, wake up. He himself looks like a very, very dull guy. He himself needs some help. What is he going to help us? Are you all in sync with me? Right? So what I'm saying is, for certain professions, certain language is very good. A general is going to talk like a general. When he walks, his army battalion should be shivering. When he says that, guys, we are going to jump, nobody dare ask, why, sir, why are we supposed to jump? No. General has told that Mangal has given the order, you dare not even ask him why. You understand? So that energy has to be there. Whereas Ketu is all about headlessness. So Ketu is you see nowadays in Facebook, you get those those conversion videos and all, where the girls and the ladies are dancing, and then they call on the stage, and suddenly they start crawling, and that guy is saying that my God will take care of you, and he will touch the forehead, and that lady will, will sort of die down. And so that's pure Ketu, headlessness in a negative way. Where somebody is saying that hey, die for your religion, or bomb this guys, or bomb this country, or bomb here, bomb there. That's again a Ketu, but a negative Ketu, but nonetheless headlessness. Why? Because what Ketu does, it is captures your head, because the problem with Ketu is that it has no head. So the biggest desire of Ketu is, I wish I could see. So it is trying to capture your head and then keep it on your head. So if that head is of the elephant, then that Ketu converts himself to Ganesha, the best student. But if it is a negative way, then it is a jihadi. So are you able to understand and bifurcate both the concepts? See, the concept of Ketu is pure surrender. Okay. And sometimes on a very spiritual term, it is very important to surrender. I always say this saying, which one of my gurus had taught me, Diksha Guru had taught me, that Bhagwan ko pehle mano, fir jano. Guru ko pehle jano, fir mano. Which in English means that to understand God, first surrender to him, then you will understand him. But when dealing with normal people, or to confirm your guru, etc., first do a little research, first understand him a little, go through his teachings, go through his videos, and later on surrender to him. But that concept of surrender is very important, because when you are constantly in doubt, you are not able to sort of get the knowledge very fast, because you are constantly doubting, constantly sort of suspicious. At some point of time, you have to surrender. Once you surrender, then you see the benefits and the advantages of what are coming in. Okay, so are we understanding the Ketu part of it? Let us understand the other extreme, which is Rahu. Rahu is a very devious, or shall we say very smooth talker, but there is a connivingness which is there. So there is a difference between the compassion of Venus, or the beauty of Jupiter, or the connivingness of Rahu. Rahu always has that motive of what's in it for me, which even Venus has, but that there is no negative sort of a thing. It's like, as we say, win-win situation, that hey, you pay me and I'm going to teach you, which means that hey, I am not giving you something for free, but at the same time, what I'm giving you is with a lot of hard work. There is no Rahu involved to that level. It's a very sort of a fair assessment and a fair sort of a thing that we are having. But when it is Rahu, then they make great external affairs guys. Because there was a common joke which I heard, that a guy in an external affairs ministry can tell you that hey, go to hell, in such a way that you look forward to the journey. I hope you all got it. So it's so important that Rahu will always have something. It is that devious little middle-aged guy, or an old uncle in a discotheque, who is going to spike up a drink, and who is going to give it to a young girl, so she would lose her consciousness, and he can take advantage of her, or whatever it is. And that guy will be very polished. Hello, how are you? Can I buy you a drink? And he and this bartender has this setting, where he is going to spike up a drink. Right? Very, very sophisticated, very, very good looking, very rich, very smooth talker, but the intentions are not good. It could be one of your financial planners or insurance guys, who while you were asking them, he gave you all the wrong details. That, hey, this is covered. Yes, ma'am, this is covered. Hey, this is covered. Yes, sir, this is covered. This is the best policy. Just sign here and it is fine. And once you sign it, and then you came to know that a lot of things were not covered and probably covered from the 5th year. And then you ask them and say that, oh, sorry, it is covered, but it is covered from the 5th year. Why did you not tell that to me? Oh, you are a Rahu. You understand? So you need to understand that Rahu is not a harsh planet, by the way. But Rahu to that level is a smooth talker, or sometimes, you might conceal the truth. Like you might not give you might not say untruth, but you are not giving the correct truth. It is just that you are keeping quiet, though you know the truth. So those things are also very, very important to understand when it comes to Rahu. Whereas Surya, see, here it is written demeaning. Okay, now it all depends on the avastha of Surya. But generally I've seen with my experiences, Surya is more of a straight talker. Why? Because it doesn't like to sort of beat around the bush. It's the king. It has got too many things to do. So those are the people, who say that, if you can't tell anything within 10 minutes, then frankly speaking, it's not worth it. And I've heard this from a very, very famous Bollywood star, who only gives 10 minutes to a director to actually give the story session. And he's very clear that, in that 5-10 minutes, if he can't tell the script or can't tell the story, and if it doesn't help me, then frankly speaking, it's not worth it. Which is a very, very correct way. And that's a Surya thing. That, hey, let's not waste time, let's get ready in terms of what it is all about. And then there are drishtis also, which we'll be talking in a later stage. The content of the language is seen by the planets with Mercury or the house in which Mercury is. Whereas the second from Mercury is more like the energy, or what they say in a very colloquial language is the throw of your speech. So that is very important to understand. And can we amend it? Yes, we can amend it. So let's say if you have a problem where you end up having a lot of fights with your speech. So one of the best remedy is to wear a pearl in your little finger, especially the right hand little finger, to ensure that you are not getting into those constant battles or constant fights or creating smaller issues to bigger issues. Some people are master at that. बात कुछ नहीं होती है, but they will sort of dig in so much that ultimately they will find a problem. Okay, so you don't want to be that. So this is actually a good sort of a background for you to understand the importance of speech, or to understand what is the flaw, or why are you sort of having an issue with your speech, and how you can make your speech better. See, in today's time, there is no greater friend in your repertoire or in your skill set than a good speech. Because at the end of the day, we all have to sell ourselves. Be it our product, be it our service, be it our own personality, or whatever it is. That's a fact of matter. Okay, and Mercury is also a Rajas planet. Okay, so it helps you in that power of creation, be it wealth creation, be it knowledge creation, be it creation in a very, very structured manner, because it is a very good learner as well. Okay, so now we need to study a little more in terms of the speech process. Okay, and let us take some examples, starting with Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. Okay, which is Mahatma Gandhi, and everybody knows him, right? The father of the nation or India. And M.K. Gandhi was born on 2nd of October, which is the Gandhi Jayanti. In India we have a national holiday, and everybody knows his birthday because it's a national holiday. So let us understand what is happening in his speech process. Now, In below this, I've given you some of the major sort of his quotes. An eye for an eye ends up making the whole world blind, and many things. So prima facie, let us understand his second house, second lord, and understand what's happening from the Mercury perspective. Okay, now let us look at, first and foremost, are we having a planet in the second house? The answer is yes. The planet over there is Saturn. Okay, and Saturn is in the house of Ketu, and Ketu is in the house of Saturn. Now that particular thing is called as Parivartana. We will be learning Parivartana at length later on, but what I mean to say is whenever a planet is in Parivartana, then there is a certain change happening in that person's life at a certain stage of life. See, Parivartana doesn't work from the first year. Okay, there are certain ways to understand when the Parivartana will actually work. Okay, so he was a lawyer. Okay, and he was somebody who was in South Africa, and he saw a little bit of racism over there. Then he was in a train, in a first class compartment, because he was a well-to-do. Because if he was traveling in a first class compartment, definitely he was a lawyer who was doing pretty well. But he was thrown out of that first class compartment because he was brown skinned. So from there, there is a certain change happened inside his soul, that hey, this is so wrong. You are discriminating based on the color of the skin. That is absolutely not fair on me. So that's where this whole sort of journey started, where Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi changed to Mahatma Gandhi. Okay, and let us see that change. So that Saturn initially would mean that, hey, he will have, Saturn generally has a speech which can actually little hurt people, or is a very traditional speech, depending on how the thing is. Okay, now whenever that Ketu is in Parivartana, here we see, you remember what was Ketu about? Ketu was about all complete dedication. I told you it can either prepare a jihadi, or it can prepare a very generally it gives you a cult following, right? So if Ketu then changes and comes to the second house by the way of Parivartana, can we say that in the second house, first and foremost, it affects your wealth very badly, because Ketu is not good in the second house. Why? Because it is a Moksha Karaka. A Moksha Karaka planet in the house of wealth, what is it going to do? It is almost like Marana Karaka. So it is going to take away your wealth completely. So a guy who used to wear suits and nice sort of a trouser when he was in South Africa, he came to India and suddenly started following, let's say, minimalistic living. He started wearing only a dhoti and probably a shawl over there if it is very cold, and that too he started making on its own, which is called as a charkha, or the whole movement called as Swadeshi movement. You understand? So that Swadeshi movement is something that he started. And did people follow him? It is Ketu over second house, and it is second from Mercury. So everybody had this cult following. If Mahatma Gandhi said that, hey, throw all your clothes which were made in Britain, everybody sort of threw away their their clothes. Everybody burnt it. And in those days, there used to be this very open sort of a thing, where they used to create that fire sort of a thing, and everybody used to throw it away. Mahatma Gandhi will say that I am going to not eat today. The whole of India will stop eating today. Mahatma Gandhi will say that, hey, I'm going to do my Dandi Yatra and I'm going to break this salt satyagraha. Then everybody will start following him. Chandra is his Atmakaraka also and has a Rashi Drishti over there. Chandra is ruling salt. So his major sort of claim to fame, etc., was all about that Dandi March, and where he sort of broke this salt satyagraha, where he sort of told that, hey, this salt belongs to India. How can you sort of allow or not allow us to have the salt which belongs to India? And Britishers were shocked that, hey, what is there in this guy's speech? He doesn't even wear clothes properly, but whenever he speaks, it's like it's a full house. So what is the second lord from Mercury? Second lord is Mangal, and Venus is along Mercury, which is the Karaka of the speech. He is along with Venus and the second lord. Very, very interesting. So there is a Mangal part, which is there, but Mangal is with an exalted, Mula Trikona Shukra in its own house. So shall we say that the person has a very, very truthful and a compassionate speech because of Venus? More than truthful, we can say compassionate. So whenever he speaks to somebody, he speaks with a lot of compassion, at least all his formal speeches. But then there are areas where he has been a little not too kind to probably Subhash Chandra Bose or probably to Sardar Patel. But overall, this Venus with Mercury is saying that, hey, this person will definitely have a lot of compassion. Mangal is there, a lot of discipline. Byway, highway also sometimes. Right? Because Mangal is somebody, who is like a commander-in-chief. He wants to do it his own way. So finally, when the prime ministership had to happen, they had this voting, and in voting, actually Sardar Patel won. And Nehru actually got 1 or 2 votes. Frankly speaking, he was not even close to what Sardar Patel was to do. But what did Gandhi do? Gandhi actually put his foot down and he plays his part of it, and he said that no, it has to be Sardar Patel, not Sardar Patel, but it has to be Nehru who has to be the Prime Minister of India. And unfortunately, that was one decision which cost India a lot as well. Okay, and it is that Chandra. You see, Chandra is his Atmakaraka in Karka. And surprisingly, Jawaharlal Nehru is Karka Lagna with Chandra in Lagna. Interesting how certain planets can actually bring certain leaders to certain people's life. It is actually a higher study. Why did I say probably way back in 2011 that Narendra Modi will be Prime Minister of India? He was not even nominated. He was not even announced as a prime ministerial candidate, which was later announced in 2012, midway. Why? Because based on India's chart, I knew that a certain Lagna person is going to come to power. And he is that change which is showing by the Narayan Dasha, which India is going to change to. But that I'll leave it for a future session. Okay. But what I want you all to do, especially in the time that you will get, in the comment section, start reading the quotes, start attributing to a planet. Can you get the gist of these planets, and then understand that, hey, this quote is for a certain particular planet. Let's say an eye for an eye ends up making the whole world blind. Isn't that saying that, hey, we can't fight with everybody, we need to have compassion with each other? So that's a very Shukra thing. Okay, so likewise, it would be a good sort of a homework for you, where you can start understanding the quote, start understanding more about it. And the Atmakaraka moon has a Rashi Drishti on the second house, and it is second from Mercury. Okay, so to that level, we can say that Atmakaraka also has an impact in second from Mercury, So definitely there will be this cult following. Chandra is also over there, so it will be a following, where people absolutely adore him. There will be a certain section which might not like him, but apart from that, majority during those periods will actually follow him blindly. It is that Ketu, right? He's captured their head. He's captured the imagination of the nation, so to say. And hence he is rightly called the father of the nation. Okay. Now, let us talk about Swami Vivekananda. Okay. and Swamiji is Dhanu Lagna. Dhanu Lagna people by default are very straight talkers. Okay, always keep that in mind. And being Dhanu Lagna, he has got Mercury and Venus in the second house. Okay, and there is a parivartana of Mercury, and Saturn again. Okay, so again there is like a Mercury and a Saturn parivartana. So we can say that that initial part of his life was all about Venus and Mercury, and very few people know that actually he wanted to take up a job, and he really tried for years, but he just couldn't get a job. Very surprising. And that some parivartana happened, that almost that Shani and Mercury are having a parivartana. And if that parivartana happens, then it is that Saturn in the second house, okay, in its own house. So whenever the Lagna Lord is in the same house, then it is going to ensure that that Karaka Tattva of that particular house increases. So a person might have a very truthful speech, but at the same time a very traditional speech, because Shani is a very old planet. It is not a very modern planet. And then there is Venus. So there is a little bit of compassion. But that Saturn is going to give him a very, very sort of a traditional outlook. Okay, and what else is happening? Saturn made him say things about the Atmakaraka. See, he talked about the Raj Yoga also, that is Mercury, right? Mercury, people thought, was all about Raj Yoga. But his book, which is Raj Yoga by Swami Vivekananda, I would highly advise if you can read that book, gives you a completely different perspective of, hey, what is Raj Yoga at the end of the day? Is Raj Yoga having $5 million in my bank account? Or is it the ability to do what I want to do at the point when I want to do? How many of us have that sort of Raj Yoga? So he completely sort of twisted that whole concept of Raj Yoga. Also, now let us see his second lord. Second lord is Saturn, okay, and Saturn is with Moon. Okay, so whenever Saturn or the second lord, whenever it is with Moon, then to that level you can have a very, very compassionate, that Vasudeva Kutumbakam, the whole world is my family, and also a little faster speech. So compared to Gandhi, if you see the speech of Vivekananda, he's more of Chandra. Whereas Gandhi might be a little more slower comparatively. You understand? So this is how you understand this can be used for even rectification when the Lagna is at the end of the degrees. You can use that. Okay? And all this is happening. Mercury is over there. Second from Mercury is a house called Aquarius, and Aquarius is the sign of philosophers. So we can say that, hey, he didn't probably have a direct influence, let's say, of an Atmakaraka over there, but it is very important for us to understand that, he had a very, very philosophical point of view. He had a very, very traditional point of view. He sort of invented the whole concept of Atmakaraka. He sort of talked about the whole beautiful journey where if you understand your soul journey and you understand the reason why you are born, frankly speaking, you have made it. Because in your life, that is one question that you need to ask yourself. Who am I? And that is very important. So Swamiji talked about this beautiful concept, who am I? Are you the one, who has a car and, who has a villa, or who has 2 kids and who has wife, or who has got job in this particular company, etc.? Or are you the soul? And if you are the soul, why are you there? Find it out. Find out, who am I? That is the question that should not be able to ensure that you are restless at all point of time, in a positive sense. Sometimes positive stress is good. You can't be careless. So you can't be born in a human form and not even being able to understand that who am I, or that question is something which is not even relevant to you. You understand? So those are the things that Swamiji sort of motivated. And then finally he ended up doing a lot for the sadhus, and especially for ladies, who are widows and all. He did some fantastic work, which is going on even today. Hence, whenever it comes to Diksha, etc., I always tell people that, hey, if you have a Gayatri Diksha, then go to the Gayatri Ashram. If you have a normal Diksha to take, then go to Ramakrishna Mission. Because there is this blessing of that Guru and Shishya. It is associated with that lineage of Thakur and Swami Vivekananda. Okay, so you can study the chart a little more. Surya is his Atmakaraka, and in the comment section, please comment in terms of what do you feel is more important, what are the things that are happening in his life. Can you cite out some experiences of his life and correlate it with this? He had this wonderful speech in Chicago, which is so very famous, and that made him extremely famous. Read his speech and then let me know, what is that one planet which resonates his speech. That would be a good sort of a homework for you all to understand it. Okay. Now this is his Guru, Thakur Ramakrishna, and he is Rahu Atmakaraka. But more importantly, let us see the second house. Second house is Shukra, in exaltation. Okay. So again, an exalted planet is going to say that, hey, this is a person who is a very compassionate person, somebody who believes in compassion and all about giving, etc. But at some point, there is a Jupiter which is also having a drishti, Rashi drishti over there. So there is no Parivartana yoga working over here. So please don't get confused with the Parivartana. But this is all about a drishti, which is a Rashi drishti, because both are dual signs. So we can say that this Guru has a Rashi drishti, and all the planets which have a Rashi drishti on the second house have an impact on the speech as well. And that's a permanent feature. So it says that this causes a wonderful yoga called as Dviguru Yoga, which means that this person has a special ability of dual Guru. It's like the dual power. And it is that second Lord, which is Jupiter, which is aspecting the second house, giving that beautiful sort of power of speech and a perfect Guru. There are very few who can be called as perfect Guru, and Thakur is one among them. Okay, so it is very, very important to understand what is this Atmakaraka is. Atmakaraka is Rahu. Okay, and the thing that you need to understand is that this Jupiter is also second from Rahu. So there are certain rules which I'll talk about in a later stage. But currently, let us understand the second house from Rahu is, let's say, Gemini. So we see that this Jupiter becomes extremely important as a second Lord, which is placed in the second house from the Atmakaraka. Okay, so likewise you need to understand. So both as second Lord, understand his Venus, which is very, very exalted and in the second house, plus his other second Lord Ketu is also in its own house. So when it comes to his speech, my goodness, he can be extremely truthful. Both his lords are so strongly placed with the aspect of Jupiter over there. Okay, and you can obviously look at it, the truthful speech, the compassion, and this both sort of gurus are giving him a great amount of compassion. Okay, so you study this further, keep on drilling more points, look at more aspects, and you can study his life story, and it would be a great sort of a thing. Okay, so now we are coming up to a very, very interesting topic, and that is the Guru Paduka. Where is your real blessings? We have talked initially about the ninth house, ninth Lord, various sort of other ways of understanding the power, the real power. But ultimately, they say that power is all about blessings, right? You can have the best of the artilleries, you can have best of everything, but it is like that Shashi Kapoor thing. तुम्हारे पास क्या है? मेरे पास माँ है. You know, and something that is higher than that is the Guru's blessing, because that can actually cover even your 11th house and 6th house. So here we are going to talk about a little bit of from where that blessing is coming from. You know, the real power of knowledge is seen from the 12th from Jupiter. See, Guru is going to be able to is one of the best givers, or let's say wherever the Guru is the house which it is shining. Okay, but which is the house which is getting the maximum fruits of the Guru? We have always talked about the second house syndrome, or we have always talked about that the second house is something that is feeding, right? So if the second house is feeding, then the 12th house from every planet is the one that is gaining, you know, the good things or the bad things of that particular house. Hence, when there is a good yoga, you always see 12th from there. When there is a bad yoga, you see the 12th from there. Interesting concept, you have to understand. So if Guru, let's say, is in Lagna or in a particular house, then the 12th therefrom is the Guru Paduka. You see over in this picture, there is this Paduka, you know, those wooden sort of footwear which the ancient rishis even wear today. If you see in the Himalayas or you see in a very, very perfect ashram, they will use this wooden thing, because wood is also associated with Jupiter. You know, the moment you wear leather, etc., that's more of Shani. Okay, so we have to understand that the 12th from Jupiter is that, you know, that pile of knowledge on which the meditation can be done. Okay, so this is a little bit of new concept that you are trying to learn. You know, till now we were just looking at Jupiter, we were just looking at the house in which Jupiter is. Definitely that house is also going to shine, because it is Guru who is sitting there. He is not going to allow anybody else to sort of destroy it. And depending on the avastha, or depending on the power that the Jupiter has, he is going to either be able to save it, or at least in the worst case, he is going to die fighting for it. Okay, but the 12th from Jupiter is the one which is getting the maximum of Jupiter, because Jupiter is spending over there. It is almost like, you know, from which region of the world is your clientele coming. It is almost like in the 12th house, right? So whichever is your Lagna, to that extent, the 12th therefrom is the person who is looking at you very favorably. And the second from that is the person that is favorable to you. Why? Because that person is spending on you, whereas you are spending for that person. It is almost like that. That is actually used in horoscope matching, even within the partners or even within the couples. And that is where you understand, you know, whether the couple are beneficial, or the marriage is lucky, or whether you stay in a certain type of a relationship. There are Ashtavivahas, there are 8 types of marriages, if you don't know. So these are all detailed studies. We'll be doing it, you know, part by part. You know, we will be breaking it up to ensure that there is a structured way of understanding. But this 12th from Jupiter is always something which is very important. Now, I've seen sometimes people get confused between a Diksha Guru and a Shiksha Guru. And they feel that, hey, everybody, even your school teacher, is equivalent to your Diksha Guru, which is not correct. Your normal mentors, your normal sort of teachers or normal gurus, they all come which is 9th from Jupiter. Whereas 12th from Jupiter is that magical Diksha, or 12th from Jupiter is your Guru Paduka. If you see Ramayana, in Ramayana, Bharata, which is the brother of Sri Ram, he kept the Paduka of Sri Ram on the throne of Ayodhya. And he rejected that, hey, I will sit on the throne. Because that throne was for his Guru. So a Paduka is a very, very important significator of your Guru. Okay, and if you have got a Paduka of your Guru, then it is a very, very great thing. Okay, so 12th from your Guru is also your Diksha and all those things. Okay, so I'm sure you are able to understand the slide, and the picture on the right hand side is quite sort of understanding, where in the Lagna there is Jupiter, whereas 12th from Jupiter is that heap of knowledge and the scriptures, etc., and a meditation that is happening. Whereas 9th therefrom is your teacher, your mentor, the normal gurus that actually are more of your education guru. Okay, now let us look at those same example charts which we talked about before. Okay, in Swami Vivekananda's case, again you see Dhanu Lagna with Atma Karaka in Lagna. Where is Jupiter? Jupiter is in the 11th house. So 12th therefrom is the Guru that is happening, that is Saturn and Moon. Okay, so Saturn and Moon to that level is the Guru Paduka or the combination, which is the one which is going to help him. Now Saturn Moon together commonly is called as Kalika Yoga. Okay, it means that person or the person has got a yoga with Mahakali. Okay, and we also see that sign is also associated with us, and then the lords of that sign are Mercury and Rahu. And Mercury and Rahu, whereas Rahu has gone into the natural 12th house, and Mercury is obviously over here and is also in Parivartana with Shani. So there is this great thing between the 2nd house and 10th house which is going on, which we will not discuss at current moment, but you must write down in your notes that this is something that you need to understand, that what is happening. To start with, his Atma Karaka is Vargottama. Vargottama means in the same sign in your Rashi and your Navamsha. So when you will put in this birth details, let's say in a chart, you will see that the sun will be in the same sign Sagittarius even in his Navamsha. It can be in any house. The importance of Vargottama is a planet in the same sign in Rashi and Navamsha. And what does it do? We will study that later on. Okay. One of the things that happens to Swamiji is that he gains this excellent Atma Bala. Very strong soul. The Atma Karaka, Surya, has got Vargottama. And over here we see that Chandra is with Shani, right? Generally we don't want Chandra with Shani. Okay. And there is this problem which is happening, and ultimately Jupiter is the one who is going to sort of interfere because it is 12th therefrom. Okay, it is important to understand that Mars must have no drishti. Okay, Mars should have no drishti, and it is very important for you all to understand. Whenever Mangal will have a drishti, that means that person cannot be a good sadhu. Why? Because the primary requisite for Mangal, for a sadhu, is to let go of that anger. If a sadhu is getting angry, then there is a huge problem. Okay, that is very important. So his famous mantra that he used to chant is Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishnaya. And why? We will understand that. Just ensure that you have this Saturn and Moon in your mind. Okay, now we are going to talk about his Guru. Okay, now in his Guru's case, we have Jupiter, which is in Gemini. Okay, we know his chart, we did it before. And 12th therefrom is Rahu. Okay, and there is a peculiar thing which is happening because Atmakaraka is Rahu himself. And it is considered that, hey, this particular soul was a reincarnation. And how do we prove that? We have Chandra in Lagna, okay, and then there is this 12th from Jupiter, he is his Atmakaraka himself. And he was said to be as a Vishnu Avatara, and there was a great sort of a philosophy where there were so many things that people have seen about him. Do you know that his bhakti for Kali had reached so high that he actually started having periods? Now that's amazing, people wouldn't believe. But people who have been with him, they have seen that, there was almost a completely changed version of Thakur that they have seen. And at a very, very young age of 5, he had his samadhi. And those who are into meditation would know that it is very, very tough to actually reach that level of getting a samadhi. And at an age of 5, he started having a samadhi. Okay? And it is very important. The Surya is Rama. Chandra is moon. And his name was Ramakrishna. Okay, why? Because all this combination is happening in Lagna, and the dispositor of Lagna is Rahu, which is 12th from Jupiter. Which means that somewhere down the line, he is the Paduka. He is the one who is going to help establish a lot of things around him. This chart is a little difficult chart. We are going to do this chart regularly, so slowly you sort of are able to crack the various things which are there, because there are certain things I haven't taught you. So if I tell you as of now, you will have no idea. You will try to do a Google search, you will get confused, and then the whole motive of getting a clarity for your mind would be lost, because you will actually become more unclear. Okay, now only thing that I want to tell you is that, hey, this 12th from Jupiter is his Atmakaraka, and this Rahu is in an exaltation. This is called as Ayush exaltation. See, the normal exaltation of Rahu is in the sign Gemini. That is for the Sansara. But this is the spiritual exaltation of Rahu, which is for the spiritual path. Or shall we say, it is called as Ayush exaltation, which means the longevity part of it. But longevity of what is something that is to be understood. Okay, and we see this Rahu, which is in the 4th house, and he was born on a Amavasya. Okay, so anybody who is, because we see that sun and the moon are together, so anybody who is born on Amavasya, Diksha from Thakur Ramakrishna Mission is one of the best remedies. I believe Kristal is, or somebody I remember was born on Amavasya. So this has to be one of your to-do list. That come whenever God permits you to visit India, or if there is a Ramakrishna mission in your country, then you need to on an Amavasya request them for a Diksha. And that will in fact be a great sort of a way of doing it. Okay, now let us study a little bit in future about Thakur Ramakrishna. We'll be studying a little bit more, but what is to be understood is that find out the 12th from Jupiter. First mark out the house in which Jupiter is. Okay, now so that particular house is giving you a lot of light. That is your hope. See, Jupiter is always the hope in your chart, because it is one planet which is there to actually give you. Now you understand the 12th from Jupiter, because the 12th from Jupiter is the one which is benefiting the most, because it is eating from Jupiter, right? Second is your food. So if you consider 12th from Jupiter, then from that house, Jupiter is the second. So Jupiter is technically feeding the house 12th from it. So 12th is the one which is getting the maximum benefit of Jupiter. Hence it is the one which is going to be the, subconsciously that is the house which is going to benefit a lot. And then understand that, how, and if at all, let's say you haven't got a Diksha, then, can you get a Diksha when Sun is transiting in that particular house? Or there are certain other rules also, but we can say that, that can be as your benchmarking rule in terms of how it can be there. Okay, so this is good enough to sort of set you on the path of understanding the speech, which was done in fairly detail. The Guru Padukas. Now this is the spiritual subjects. We'll keep on doing it. Once in a while I'll push in a topic which is going to help you sort of understand or build that sort of a balance between the work life or the corporate life as well as the spiritual life. Somewhere down the line we need to maintain that balance as well. Okay, so I'll see you all tomorrow, and thank you all for your time, and please comment on the section, so we can build up on the questions, and then we can start answering them as well. Okay, thank you so much. Namah Shivaya. Namaste Jyotisha lovers, thank you so much for viewing the video. Please do share so more and more thirsty souls can benefit from this free knowledge which is being shared. Also do subscribe, click the bell icon, and all the questions that you have, please mention in the comment section below. Thank you so much, and please keep supporting us.